This is Business Report Africa, brought to you by your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Rua Panao. Now, on a general note, after being blown off course by high winds, giant cargo vessel Ever Given, operated by global shipping firm Evergreen, has been blocking Egypt's Suez Canal, which serves as the world's busiest shipping route since Tuesday, March 23rd. Bound for Rotterdam in the Netherlands from China, passing northwards through the canal on its way to the Mediterranean via the Red Sea, the 200,000-ton ship ran aground and became lodged sideways across the waterway. And so far, more than 150 ships are waiting to pass through. Finance ministries and manufacturers are heavily laden with concerns about disruption in the supply of oil, petroleum products, the delivery of raw materials from global markets, as well as barriers for exports, because the 193-kilometer-long canal is responsible for about 12% of global trade that passes through it, providing the shortest sea link between Asia and Europe. The UN Economic Commission for Africa, ECA, has plans to set up a liquidity and sustainability facility that would help increase the demand for government sovereign bonds, which would in turn lower government borrowing costs. The purpose is to assist member states gain access to a facility that will strengthen their liquidity in the short term and restart growth in the long term. The ECA has partnered with PIMCO and Asset Management Corporation. This will be achieved by making it possible for the existing sovereign bondholders to post such instruments as collateral for low-interest loans financed in part by new issuance of special drawing rights (SDRs). The resources mobilized through such repurchase agreements will in turn be used to finance investments in emerging market sovereigns. It is expected of African policymakers that they seek increase the lending from multilateral development banks, as this will help them respond adequately to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, according to Thomas Vernon, partner at 18 East Capital, the LSF was designed to support emerging market sovereigns in advancing sustainable development initiatives and facilitate access to lending, liquidity, and investment into these countries. In his words, the LSF's governance will be aligned with public good mission and its adherence to the highest standards of transparency. It is estimated that the LSF could save African issuers $11 billion in interest costs over a 5-year period. Now to Rwanda. Cooling appliances exports and dealings in Rwanda are now particular about thousands of consumers switching to climate-friendly and energy-efficient air conditioners and refrigerators. The entire point of this is to help Rwanda implement its amendment to cut production of hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, powerful climate warning gases. In the words of Cold Air Limited proprietor John Paul, there are cooling appliances on the domestic market which having both environmental and economic benefits, consuming less electricity, all without polluting the air. For example, if someone used to spend 200 grams of cooling gas, the energy-efficient appliances spend around 80 grams. This means that the less cooling gas around, the less power is consumed. At this rate, the decision taken by the government to embrace energy-saving cooling appliances is timely. However, citizens have asked for a financing mechanism to help people switch to energy-efficient refrigerators, since the upfront cost is high. Still in Rwanda, the tourism sector in Rwanda has been badly hit by COVID-19, and the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning said Rwanda is pumping money into the tourism sector. He's optimistic that the partnership between Rwanda Air and Qatar Airways will help place the country in a better place to benefit from the post-COVID economic upswing. The government is pumping $100 million over the next 2 years into the private sector, and there are plans to double this. At least $50 million will go in financial help to hotels and banks, and they have been given permission to restructure the loans and increase the maturity up to 15 years, providing 3 years of grace period and reducing the interest rate. This is Business Report Africa and TOS Television. There is more to come after the break. And now to Kenya, Exchequer would have to provide 4 billion shillings per month for Kenyans to enjoy 7 shillings discount per litre of fuel at the pumps. In the past week, Energy PS told MPs that Kenya's initial oil exports under the Early Oil Pilot Scheme EOPs was not for commercial purposes. Rather, they were aimed at finding marketability for the country's crude oil. Now, in defense of the 1.4 billion shillings earned from the shipment of 240,000 barrels, Energy PS added that it was just a way to test the country's logistical capacity, discover Kenya's oil reservoirs in all entireties, and address community issues. Andrew Kamau, Petroleum Principal Secretary, said the sales of crude cannot cushion Kenyans from the high fuel prices. Yet the trucking scheme, which expired last June, cost Kenyan taxpayers more than 200 million shillings. As MPs demanded to know why Kenya has to put up with high cost of fuel, the answer they got was, since Kenya uses 264,000 barrels of refined petroleum products, which compares lowly to the 240,000 barrels that were realized in the EOPs, the Exchequer would have to provide 4 billion shillings per month for Kenyans to enjoy 7 shillings discount per litre of fuel at the pumps. While there was excitement when the president flagged off the Early Oil Pilot Scheme, it is unfortunate that Kenyans are yet to reap benefits from the crude oil. The price surge has been attributed to various legislations by MPs, which has since seen the prices shift upward. Still in Kenya, Securex Agency's security solutions provider had launched a smart home security kit targeting domestic residences to help curb the increasing burglary incidences in domestic homes. The kits will retail at 6,500 shillings. Securex CEO Tony Sani has said security is a crucial element for the country's economic development, and the government allocated a budget of 168 billion shillings for the 2020-2021 financial year to ensure that the security agencies are well equipped to help fight crime in Kenya. Now to South Africa. With intentions of playing a role in the hydrogen economy, South Africa is targeting clean and reliable alternative energy sources and mineral resources. This was disclosed by Minister Gwede Mantashe, who said that hydrogen energy was being considered as one of the choices for alternative energy due to the abundance of elemental hydrogen on the planet. To make this happen, a research, development and innovation strategy on hydrogen known as Hydrogen South Africa, HYSA, has been established in South Africa. The point of this strategy is to stimulate and guide innovation along the value chain of hydrogen and fuel cell technologies, which would in turn put South Africa in position to derive local benefits from supplying high-value added products such as platinum group metals, PGM catalysts, and catalytic devices to international fuel cells and hydrogen markets. The creation of wealth and new industries, as well as jobs, and the development of appropriate skills and human resource capital are included. Mintech's fuel cell catalysts and membranes are being commercialized with the aim of supplying the global market. The minister said, and I quote, "We continue to work with all stakeholders to promote investment through a conducive policy and regulatory framework." Shelter Afrique has returned to profitability in its 2020 earnings. The Pan-African Housing Development Financier's total comprehensive income increased to 196 million shillings from a loss of 134 million shillings in 2019. This represents a 247% increase. Now, according to the chairman, Steve Mainda, between 2016 to 2018, the company scaled down its operations and in the process underwent a restructuring program, which resulted in the crafting of the 2019-2023 strategic plan. In the 2019-2023 strategic plan, the company had projected a return to financial viability by 2020 and overall financial sustainability and profitability by 2023. This return to financial viability ahead of schedule is an indication that the turnaround strategy has been effective. This is still Business Report Africa on TOS Television. There's more to come after the break. And now to Nigeria, Dangote Cement PLC, the largest listed entity by market capitalization on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, has had its board of directors submit an application to the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) for the registration of a bond issuance program. Standing as a sub-Saharan African leading cement producer with a combined installed capacity of 48.6 across its operations in 10 African countries, its most recent published audited financial statement for the financial year 2020 declared a record high revenue of over ₦1 trillion. In line with that, the company incurred an income tax of 97 billion naira for the financial year ended in December 2020, making it the highest income tax reported since its NSE listing. The company has plans to explore its medium to long-term debt financing options through the debt capital market and channel the proposed funding into the capital expenditure of the company's expansion projects. And in Sudan, the Sudanese government has said it cleared all of its overdue payments to the World Bank. For the first time in years, this finally gives the highly indebted country access to new types of international financing, allowing Sudan to resume normal relations with the World Bank after being suspended for nearly 30 years. Now, according to the World Bank, Sudan will have access to nearly $2 billion in grants for poverty reduction and sustainable development. The country had accumulated more than $60 billion in foreign debt under dictator Omar al-Bashir, who ruled the country until 2019, placing Sudan as a pariah state. Now the country is ruled by a joint civilian military government. All this while, the Sudanese people have shouldered the burden of the economic reforms, which have been made difficult by the COVID-19 pandemic. Discussions between the Sudanese government and the World Bank pertaining to a schedule for the disbursement of total grants of $2 billion over the next 2 years will soon take place. Now to Egypt, a ministerial coordination meeting was held virtually between Egypt, Jordan and Iraq to complete discussions on strengthening strategic economic integration and cooperation across the three countries. Ministers from the three countries held discussions on joint cooperation projects proposed for implementation, as well as developments in each area of cooperation. Egypt, Iraq and Jordan are particular about reaching final decisions on the memorandums of understandings and joint agreements that will put into practice the proposals for strategic integration and economic and development cooperation. Energy and electricity sector projects, the agricultural sector and transportation were also discussed to figure out levels of cooperation between all three countries. And on a final note, Ethiopian Airlines has taken delivery of a newly converted B737-800 SF passenger-to-freighter aircraft from Florida-based GA Telesis. This will augment, the ability of Ethiopian Airlines to more economically serve short-haul destinations in Africa and the Middle East, while transporting vital medical supplies as well. Chief Executive of Ethiopian Airlines Group said, and I quote, "The delivery will enhance our capability to serve short-haul destinations more economically, including the transportation of much-needed medical supplies and vaccines. This time, we're not just receiving another aircraft, we're also showing to the world that Ethiopia stands firm through a storm and strives to widen its strength and reach corners of the world with much-needed medical supplies and vaccines to save lives." And that's it on Business Report Africa. We will now move on to Tech Africa with Merciful Achiunomo.
Hello and welcome to your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Merciful Achiunomo. And with me here, who will be discussing, leveraging cryptocurrency in Nigeria and Africa at large, is no other person but the Chief Technology Officer of Bekonta here in Abuja, no person but Japheth Johnson. Okay, first of all, let's talk about cryptocurrency. Would you mind demystifying the concept of, blockchain and cryptocurrency?
Okay, thank you very much, Merciful. This is a very interesting topic, and Africans need to be aware of it because information is power. Okay, and what you don't know will overwhelm you. So cryptocurrency is just currency that is digitized and encrypted. Now, cryptocurrency has been involved in trying to see how money will be digitized and having the qualities of true money. Because currently, with the level of inflation and so many things happening with the fiat, now we have to see something that truly mimics the real money we have studied in economics. Now, cryptocurrency is just a digital asset that can be used in trading for value or any other product or service. So it's as simple as that. We have a money that is digitized, that is secured, and can be transferred for value.
Yeah, you made mention of something called inflation. Recently we got to a certain percentage, that 70% in terms of inflation rate, and which is really bad. How does cryptocurrency come to this equation of inflation and the economic angle?
Okay, explaining inflation, a lot of Nigerians don't know that so many things have gotten so high. We feel, okay, because you are buying Gary for 200 naira, and just last 2 months they say Gary is 300, and you feel, no, it's not too much. Now, inflation is actually happening at the deepest level because the CBN or the Apex Bank have the ability to print money more and more anytime they wish. Okay, so they keep printing money anytime the money is finished. There's no any control to it. You can't tell them, okay, to stop printing. So the more you print money, the more we have a lot of money in circulation and less value of that money to the product. Now, what causes that is, I want to explain this. You see, a normal currency doesn't bring in value. So when you have 500 naira, it doesn't add really value to you. The only time you have a cash flow is when that 500 naira is infused in a business, and that business produces value. That's when we say 500 naira was able to produce 200 naira, then we have 700 naira. But when you keep printing money on and on without having any productive business beside it, then what we keep having a lot of inflation just going up there. Now, cryptocurrency is something that is built to actually cover that because it's limited. Like the Bitcoin is just 21 million in circulation, understand? And now with that, you can't print more of Bitcoin. So what does it mean? The value of Bitcoin will always remain the same, or it keep increasing because there will be higher demand for it now. It doesn't mean that, okay, when Bitcoin is finished, we're going to go and mint new Bitcoin, or we're going to go and mint new Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency. So it has a value that has been capped on it. So with that, we see when we accept that as a means of exchange or means of exchanging value, then we can say nobody has a control over it because what is decentralized. The moment you begin to have things that are centralized, someone has access to change or decide how it operates, that's where the problem begins, which we don't have that in cryptocurrency.
Now, before I talk about that issue of circulation and Bitcoin cannot be, printed or rebought or recreated, let's talk about where Nigeria stands in the use of cryptocurrency and Africa in general. Like, where are we on that world map? Are we leveraging on the the cryptocurrency thingy, or are we, if you want to rate us on like a scale, do you think we're properly harnessing the benefit of cryptocurrency?
Okay, I think we have two parties here to enjoy from cryptocurrency. We have the government and we have the citizens. Okay, now if we look at it generally, the entire government structure, not only in Nigeria, have been trying to be rigid for some years. We're not adopting this is too much. But look at the cryptocurrency since 2009, a lot of citizens have been making a lot of wealth from it. Okay, youth have found something that they can study, engage in with less than 100,000 naira, and you see someone making 200, 300,000 naira. Forget about the speculations around crypto. But we have seen something that have allowed the youth to expand, study, and make more wealth. Now, the youth have been making money from this. Now, what does the government have to do? Now, because you are supposed to regulate, see how these things are being done, because a lot of scams have happened around cryptocurrency. But remember, it's not only cryptocurrency that people have been scammed. People have been scammed using their naira. People have been scammed using even plot of land. You could buy a plot of land and they tell you tomorrow is for someone, you understand? Now the government is supposed to actually look at how we can work on frameworks to support platforms, exchange platform, to provide a secured exchange means between our fiat and the cryptocurrency. Now, how do the government make money from there? Try to see how to come up with regulations that allow these guys to regulate against funding terrorists. That's one of the major things, because you want to say, okay, we use cryptocurrency to fund terrorists. Okay, how do you do your KYC? What are the AML documents that you? Yes. So with all that, the government will be able to say, okay, this exchange have the details of this person, you have the details of that person, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to tax. Until you are able to give them a platform to innovate, see how to bring cryptocurrency to the minimal level of spending, you won't be able to say you want to tax. Okay, look, this is the major stuff. Cryptocurrency is quite, we see people saying it's anonymous, it's okay, but at the end of it is, how can we infuse this into the financial inclusion of Nigeria as a whole? How can the government, how can the banks come up to see teaming youths that are trying to build technology, work with technology, and the betterment of the nation? If you say you are not going to allow banks to do it, good. People have been doing it peer to peer. That means the citizens have been making their money. But what is the government making from? Nigeria is standing second as we talk in cryptocurrency. They're standing second in the whole world. So this is something that the government is supposed to see, wow, Nigerians can use it to this level. Cryptocurrency is over $1 trillion now, over $1 trillion now in market cap. And Nigeria is coming second. That means there's a lot of remittances that have been coming in. But what is it? It's not coming through the banks. We will talk about that. You know, when the banks are seeing themselves being faded out, now they will definitely have to report to, and that's what we're seeing now. Going behind, telling the government that this is not supposed to work, this and that. We're seeing the new policy where if you deposit on $1, you get 5 naira for it. But we're stopping the exchanges from doing that. Now the banks are trying to say, give us $1 at 410 and we'll give you 5 naira. The exchanges with the black market rate are saying, give us your dollar for 470 and you get your money. So which one do you prefer to do? Giving the bank your dollar for 110 naira with 5 naira, or giving an exchange for 470 or 480?
Before we talk about the naira for dollar scheme here, you know, the speculations and the controversies surrounding all this, you know, CBN circular that was, you know, released. You know, the CBN governor reportedly came out to say, no, he did not ban, you know, cryptocurrency transactions and trading. Now, he's only trying to protect the Nigerian bank. Don't you think that's like, you know, that's like a thing? That's like a big deal. Do you think they have a point there? Because before you spoke about this here, you spoke about this solution, which is peer-to-peer. I'm sure that you mean person to person. Yeah. So we do not necessarily need the bank. So don't you think them banning the bank from the transaction is some sort of like a plus to the economy of Nigeria?
Okay, you see, when we talk about ban, you don't act based on fear, but knowledge. Mm-hmm. When you just come out to stop a technology and say we don't agree with you without any viable reasons, at the end of the day, it was asked, why did you ban it? And you're saying, okay, because of funding terrorists. There are several ways that terrorists have been funded without crypto. You understand?
Several harder ways.
Several harder ways. Okay, so trying to say you are protecting the bank for people not to do transaction, I feel there have not been a clear information to saying we are stopping, we are protecting the bank. I feel the government work hand in hand with the bank. So if the bank are saying, okay, we should stop exchanges, we should stop crypto trading entirely, and we're seeing a lot of remittances coming, but the issue is that where is the remittance channeled through? I feel that it's somehow not clear for Nigerians to understand. You understand? So if it's not clear, people don't really know why you are banning it. Because we're seeing countries trying to build framework. We're seeing Coinbase in US, and they're working with the banks. We're seeing JP Morgan Chase trying to work up with concept on how to integrate blockchain and all those stuff. So when you just see ban, we want to see the banking sector coming into blockchain, trying to bring up innovations around the banking sector too. So that we know that you're not just saying ban because you want us to use the bank. But you are saying ban because you are trying to see how to build a proper structure. The bank has a very good structure. That's true, we can't lie to that, you understand? But let's see the bank coming into the platform of saying, okay, We're going to connect with exchanges. We're going to see how we help them with infrastructure, how to do the KYC and all those stuff. So when we see the amalgamation of exchanges and banks, then it gives people more trust, and we'll be able to fish out those guys doing the bad stuff.
Let's go back to that issue I said we're going to go back to, which is, the 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. Now, cryptocurrency in itself, the word crypt means secret. Yeah. So, don't you think there's so much fears that people have now, not just government, but people who, have been exposed to this technology? It will I say recently became a thing in Nigeria, when people start saying that, look, you can get your money wherever you are. There is no regulation. Don't you think it has created some sort of fear in the minds of people, especially Nigerians and Africans who have not really delved into what cryptocurrency is all about?
Okay, I would rather say I don't use more of word fear.
Okay.
For people that are open-minded. Fear only comes when you don't have information. I've always said that. You only get scared of something because you know little about it. Okay, so knowing about crypto doesn't take too much. It's to study, right? And if I'm going to be fair to you, sending $10,000 in crypto is way cheaper than sending it through Western Union. So if I don't know that this part have been ripping me off, and I feel this part is bad because I did not study, then I'll act based on fear. A Nigerian is tied to a particular norm or structure that he has been brought up with. So when we say this is the new normal, try to see what is there, what is the take for me. How can I leverage on this information or this technology to make myself better? So I don't really feel we're just getting scared because we don't really study much. So that should be the basic of it. When we fail to get knowledge about this information of cryptocurrency, definitely we'll just be acting like this is just something mysterious and we keep missing out.
So according to you, the root cause is not really fear, it's that people do not read. Okay, so now going forward, after you have read all you need to read, how do we mitigate the issue of trust in terms of there are no regulations, there is no person manning or gatekeeping the process of transaction? How do we mitigate that issue of trust? How safe can cryptocurrency be? Okay, so we'll start from there.
Okay, the truth is nothing can be fully safe.
Okay.
From our fiat to any other thing we're doing. Life itself is a risk. That is like our naira. Okay. I can give you money today and tomorrow you say I have not given you anything. Okay. Now that's why during peer-to-peer season we saw a lot of scam. I send money for you to send me crypto and you ran away because we're dealing through WhatsApp, Instagram or what have you. Now we're seeing a new phase where exchanges have come out to register their companies, having a face behind the company, whereby if you make this payment, you're supposed to get this cryptocurrency. If you sell this crypto, you're supposed to get your money, right? Now, because if they don't fulfill to that, CAC or the SEC can be able to, you can lay a sue against that particular company. Now, it's different from me just chatting with someone on WhatsApp. So that's why we're saying the government and the bank are supposed to liaise with these exchanges, these young guys that are able to understand the fundamental technology. Because the only way you can build trust is when an institution that is regulated by the government comes into play. So I feel more secure to keep my money in the bank. So I should start feeling secure when I keep my money or my crypto with an exchange because I know there is a governing law behind it, rather than just selling it to an unknown person. So that's why we need government to work with exchange platforms to see how there will be good regulation. You just can't come and say, okay, today this exchange is not working again. So you need to know who is behind that particular project, who is behind the company, and ensure that these companies are registered and following the due laws of the state.
Where do you see Nigeria in the next 10 years in terms of all this cryptocurrency and blockchain technology? Okay,
that's really a beautiful one because I had meetings with some developers recently, and I see a lot of Nigerians developers going deeper into coming up with solutions with blockchain, trying to see how information can be decentralized, how wealth can be decentralized, how people can make money from the comfort of their home. We are seeing you going into trading. You see, when there's a lot of depression, youth are pushed to learn more and more to make more money. And in the next 10 years, I see Nigerian youths building a life for themselves. That's if we fail to have good leaders. Now, it's just pushing us to a stage where innovation and technology will just be accepted no matter how. You understand? we just hope for better leaders that will be able to understand that technology is just the next phase of how we are supposed to grow. But I see in the aspect of cryptocurrency and blockchain, in the next 10 years, we are really going to do a lot in that field. We have so many developers, have so many talented Nigerian youths that are delving to study the concept of blockchain, and in the next 5 years, not 10 years, in the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of solutions that will be running on blockchain.
Is that what inspired BitConta?
Definitely. Definitely. To give you a print of our BitConta, you see when blockchain started, we were in university then, and we saw a lot of people trying, Bitcoin, you can use Bitcoin to do this, is this fun, is it MMM, all this stuff. So we're trying to study with my colleague, and we saw, okay, this is an opportunity. Okay, what does it take? It's just for us to study what is this particular coin, or what is this thing doing, and all this stuff. And we saw that it was even created 2009, while we're around 2016, 2015, we're trying to study it then. And we're like, okay, wow, that's good. Let's just see how we can create a platform, if we can get some and sell it to people, since they're using it for investment and all this stuff. And we started with Naira Bitcoins. We just built a platform where you'll be able to come and, okay, you pay your money. And then we could not register it because there's nothing there. So we just tried to see how to build trust. So 1, 2, 3 people will contact us, okay, I want to buy this coin. We'll try and see, get it from somewhere and just get some charge. Then from there, we're able to move to BitPesa, because we're already having affiliation with some of these companies, from Flutterwave, InterSwitch, trying to see, okay, how we make it automated. So this time around, just come, place your wallet, make payment, and just get your crypto. Then from that, we said, okay, this thing can be good. How can we try to put a proper structure, just as I have said, getting documents, trying to register the company, trying to register for patent, because that's one of the things we don't actually take serious. Then we changed from BitPesa to BitConta. Now, BitConta is just a whole new phase of the entire platform, and it's just going to serve as an e-commerce platform where you should be able to spend your stable coins, that's Theta or BUSD or any of the coins, trying to see how we can get the real value out of our investment. Now, I should be able to sell a product on the platform where, okay, I can sell a book, and you pay for the book, maybe a digital book, and you pay with your crypto, and the merchant gets his payment either in crypto or in fiat. So we're trying to see the ecosystem move beyond just getting coins, but how can you spend this coin with physical stuff? As I've said earlier, 500 naira doesn't really add value to you until you infuse it in a business. So we are trying to see how can people, you always try to spend your crypto. Maybe you are spending your crypto to buy fuel, you are trying to buy grocery or all this stuff. So we're trying to see how can we bring the e-commerce part of it, where I'll be able to use my crypto to buy electricity, to buy books, to buy any other digital content online.
Wow, so that's a good one. So your final words for Africans, people who, because whether you like it or not, there's so much that needs to be done, in the aspect of technology and how we embrace tech in Africa. What is your final words for people who are, not really balanced about, development of cryptocurrency? Just look at them to the camera and just let them know.
Okay, I think my final advice is I want Nigerians to be open-minded. One, we should learn to accept technology as something to change our lives. Let's put more attention in studying. I feel when you have more knowledge, I've always emphasized, when you have more knowledge about something, you perform better. So want to see how the government should help work with startups. Let's see how NISDA and all those other agencies should work with startups. Let's see how we can incubate young Nigerians. The educational system is not giving us the result we want now. So let's see how we can come with ideas on how to train youths in technology and how they can be able to better their lives with the information we have on ground. So I feel with that, we should be able to lift, just like the point of the president, I think, is to lift over how many millions Nigerians out of poverty. I feel if we start with technology, we should be able to pull a lot of youth out of poverty, and cryptocurrency is just one. I still believe we have a lot, and we still have to work with the government, because until you provide an enabling environment for the startups to work, we will not be able to achieve that. But I know with time we are going to get that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Jaffe Johnson, the CTO of BitConta. It was really an insightful one, I must say. Thank you. So we wrap it here on this show, and I am Merciful Ejinamo. Keep watching TOS Television, and you don't forget you can follow us on our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, subscribe on YouTube. Till I come your way next time, remain blessed.